Hi, I'm Jav. While in bed a few days ago, I thought I've already copied gameplay channels and I've also copied roast channels. But which other type of channels can I copy now? I know, commentary channels. The ones where they tell you about their stories and stuff, like Leafy. And I also thought, what if I die one of these days? What if I get a bit too depressed one day and decide to Superman out of my window head first into the ground to see what it tastes like? What sort of a legacy will this 21-year-old dude leave behind for himself? What is something that I can leave behind in this mortal world? Something that people will look at and hopefully remember me by. The story of that time I pooped my pants in 4th grade, of course. Well, I mean, not just that, but all the other excrement related adventures I had in my junior years of school. So, if you're listening to the story, something that you should know about me is that I was always a very shy kid all throughout school, especially in my earlier years. Like, an example being that I couldn't even ask my teacher whether I could use the bathroom. I was too afraid. So, one day in 1st grade, I really had to go relieve the old water gun, but I didn't want to ask my teacher, and I pissed my pants, just like that in the middle of class while she was teaching. I still remember a drop dripping off my chair. Then the teacher's pet ratted me out, and yeah, I don't remember much after that. It was a bit embarrassing, but I remember that quite a few kids used to piss their pants in 1st grade. So in 2nd grade, I decided not to repeat the same mistake again. And whenever I had to go, I would ask the teacher, and things went pretty normal for a while until one particular day. I had to pee, I asked the teacher, I went, and there were two other boys by the entrance of the bathroom before me. I think they were my age, and these guys weren't peeing or anything. They were just giggling amongst themselves. So anyway, I kinda ignored them and went to a urinal, and just as I was about to unzip my pants, these two nut jobs approached me from both sides and tried to look at my dick. It was very weird and they were laughing too. I mean, the situation was weird, not my dick. Or maybe that too, I don't know. So I kind of panic and quickly go into one of the lockable bathroom stalls which was opposite the urinals. And to my very unpleasant surprise, there's already someone in there. No, it wasn't a person, it was just a steaming blob of shit in the corner of the cubicle. And it wasn't on the potty, it was just on the floor. And that, kids, is the reason why I don't use public toilets anymore. But yeah, from that point on, I remember not using the school toilets anymore, and I don't remember any incidents where I felt the need to use them in the 3rd grade. Except that one time I quietly farted in class when the teacher wasn't present. And I remember the kids asking, what is that smell? Covering their noses and rushing to open the doors and windows. I honestly don't remember why it smelled that bad or how it stank up the entire class. Worst thing I've ever smelled in my life, I think. But oddly satisfying. Fortunately, I didn't know who did it. Now I've smelled onions and they kinda smell odorless, but when I farted out that fart, all I could think of was rotten onions for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, remember how I was talking about half the class pissing their pants in 1st grade? I think they used to poop often too. Because one time I remember some kid sat in class and we knew that because the room was all stanked up. And it was not me that time. No one was owning up to it, so the teacher was going a bit crazy. She started bringing the suspected pant poopers to the front of class and inspecting their pants for poop stains. When she couldn't find any, she recruited the unwilling help of my friend Mustafa, who had the misfortune of being the kid sitting on the first desk in front of my teacher. Now, Mustafa was a quiet, short guy, the kind of guy you could bully and get away with, the kind of guy whom, if you're standing in the corner of the room and you went deliberately out of your way towards him just to step on his foot, he'd apologize to you for getting in your way. Yeah, so he was probably the nicest guy in my class. On an unrelated note, he also taught me how to make the sound with my tongue. Then she did something that she probably could have got suspended for if someone had complained about it. My teacher of the year 2000 takes him to the front of class and makes him smell the butts of the suspects. Seriously. I think he smelled at least 3 butts, after which I don't remember what exactly happened. I don't know if the bell rang or something. But anyway, I don't know where or how Mustafa is now, but I bet he doesn't occupy the first bench anymore. Then of course there was the 4th grade when I myself sat my pants. Now this was a city day from the beginning. I remember wanting to poop pretty bad from the time I was in the car on the way to school itself, but I was too shy to tell the driver too. We had school from about 8 to 1, and I don't remember when in particular, but I sat myself during class a bit early during the day. I tried controlling myself, but Mr. Brown and his family were really eager to leave, and I think at least a little Mr. Brown Jr. managed to push open the doors and find himself outside his designated area. Yeah, so I thought that I'm just going to endure the extreme moisture in my diaper and go home in the afternoon and wash it all up, and no one in school would ever find out. Unfortunately, this was PT day too, and we had to wear white shorts on that day as opposed to grey shorts on the other days. So when library period came, the period where everyone went to a library and read illustrated books of Noddy, everyone was leaving the class, but I remained seated and decided to leave last so that no one would see the little shit stains on my butt. But there were a bunch of dicks in my class who realized that something was up with me and they deliberately stood behind my desk waiting for me to leave. Now I was seated towards the back end of the class, and as I panicked and quickly left, I crushed as many desks as possible on the way out so as to divert any attention towards my hands and not my butt. But while I was leaving, I did hear someone say something about look at his butt or something like that. But they didn't tell the teacher, so that was good. As I was walking to and from the library, I kept my hands behind my butt, covering whatever was left of my dignity. I guess people thought it looked weird, but no one asked me anything. Now it was getting towards the end of the school day. The class kinda reeked of excrement, but not much actually. But the teacher asked her if any of us had pooped our pants, and no one else had besides me, obviously. I think she told us to check if our partners had pooped their pants. I acted all natural and stuff and checked my partner's butt but didn't allow him to check mine properly. So a few weeks later from that date, we were supposed to have a concert. We kids were going to act in the play in front of our parents. Now, because I was such a good actor, they gave me the best role in the play. I got the role of a cow. Like, holy cow, right? Like, two students would have to be made a cow, and they'd both bend down 90 degrees from the waist in a forward position. The front kid would hold the cow's head, and the behind kid would put his arms on the back of the front kid. My friend, I think his name was Jignesh, was my partner and was the other half of my cow. I think someone up there really likes him because he was luckily the front part of the cow. So we're rehearsing, and the teacher's calling the students one by one up to the front of the class to practice. I'm sitting at my desk, absolutely dreading my turn. But it comes up, and Jignesh and I walked up to the front of the class, with me doing what you would call a backwards namaste and my bum to hide my poo stains. There were actually 2 cows, so there were 4 kids who were going to do this. And the cow also had to kind of dance like those Chinese dragon wiggle dances you might have seen in parades and stuff. Except we were inside the cows. So the other 3 kids have taken their position, and Jignesh is there bent facing the side of the class. Like, his right arm is facing the students and his left arm is facing the teacher, pretending he's holding a cow's head. Because we don't have the costume yet, we're only going to get to use it on the concert day, I think. And I'm there headbutting into him, still doing the backwards namaste. The music starts and we start wiggling around, and my teacher tells me to put my hands on Jignesh's back, but I willfully ignore her. Then she tells me to do it again, and I continue to ignore her. Then she starts getting mad, I can hear it in her voice, and I start to tear up, and I finally do it. I put my hands on his back, revealing everything. At the moment I do it, I start hearing a few collective gasps from my classmates, and I'm just thinking, rest in peace, Jareth. They know now. They knew something was up all along, but now they actually know. Well, the teacher doesn't shout at me or anything, because it was actually a kind of common thing for kids to do that in class. But she calls an aya, that's a word for a maid or something, and she takes me up to the bathroom. I wash up, she gives me a clean pair of white pants with pink florals on it. No underwear though, so Willie went home free that day. You're welcome, Peter. So yeah, those are the stories of all my poopy times in class. I hope they were interesting. Thanks for watching till here. Goodbye.